Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Abhiyata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalayastada Bhutame Bhurama Mamuddhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varandane Ayun Dulruk Eong Ayauch Hayavarat Lan Nyamanga Nanam Javain Garadash Jaba Garadash Kapha Chata Chatav Kapai Shashasar Hal Mahasha Sutrani. So this time what Kalpesh has done is that he has typed out the commentary for us. So that's very useful because that reduces the size of the recording. So we'll use that this time, so I don't have to switch back and forth between pages. So he has typed the shloka here and also the Sanjeevani Tika of Mallinatha. So we can use this document, and that way it'll make it easy for all of us, and also reduce, most importantly for people listening to the recording, it'll make it easy there also. So last time we were looking at the shloka. This is the number 16. Shodasha. This is the 16th shloka. Tivra vega dhutamarga vrikshaya preta chivara vasa swanograya abhyabhavi bharatagrijastaya vatyayeva pitrakananottaya. One more time. Tivra vega dhutamarga vrikshaya preta chivara vasa Swanograya Abhyabhavi Bharatagrijastaya Vatyayeva Pitrakananottaya. Now for the Padacheda and Padanva you can get from the Tika itself, so make it easy for you. Look at the Tika, it says Tivra Vegena Dhutaha Kampitaha Mrugavrikshaha Yayat Thoktaya. So first he's taken that Tivra Vega Dhutamarga Vrikshaya. That's a Bahubri compound. He's taking that, and then he's taking Preta Chivara Vasa. This is all qualifying that Tataka. And then comes the Swanograya. This is also third adjective for her. And then comes Pitrakanane Vatyaya Iva Bharatagrajaha Abhyabhavi. So that's the whole shloka. Simple shloka is what always go for the Tingantam Padam. That's the first thing if you can do that. Leave out all the adjectives behind, leave the shashtis behind, leave the upamas behind. So simple sentences Bharatagrajaha Abhyabhavi. Bharatagrajaha Abhyabhavi. Means and here it says Bharatagrajaha is Bharatasya Agrajaha. So Agrejayati iti Agrajaha, that's Upapada Samasaha, Agrajaha. So the elder brother of Bharataha, which clearly means Sri Ramaha. And it is in the commentary, Bharatagrajaha equals Ramaha. And so Ramaha Abhyabhavi. Now, and Abhyabhavi equals Abhibhutaha. He was kind of attacked, or he was overpowered, he was engulfed by her. Now, that Abhyabhavi form which you saw last time is not very easy form. It is not very rare, it's not in the Gita. It's a passive form. And there the Tika says Karmani Lung, Karmani Lung, Karmani Lung. Now let me just go to last time's ending notes and we can revise that one more time. It says Abhyabhavi is the Abhi is Upasarga, and then we have Dhatu Bhu, and since we are in the passive, in the Karmani Prayagaha, we can only use the Atmanipada endings in Karmani Prayagaha. Because of what? Sutram is 1.3.13. Bhava Karmanoho. This Bhava Karmanoho means that either in the impersonal passive or in the passive which has an object, then both these cases, you can only use the Atmanipada ending. And this rule generally does not have any exceptions. Okay? So which means that if you're looking at a verbal form, if it is not Atmanepadam, it's not passive. As simple as that. If you're looking at a verbal form which is not Atmanepadam, it is not passive. But if it is Atmanepadam, it could be a dhatu which takes Atmanepadi ending. It could be active or passive. But if you look at all the dhatus, the prayana prasnapadinaha dhatavaha. So for the most part, the big majority of verbs take only the parasnapada endings. Atmanepada, there are a few of them only. Few means not very few, but they are less in. If you want to take percentage, probably I would say 70-80% are probably parasnapadi dhatus. This is a rough number top of my head. So if you're looking at Atmanepadam, then you have to think: is this active or is this passive? To give you a quick example from the Gita, if you look at the 9th chapter, very first shloka, I think it is. Idam tate gujyatamam pravakshyamyana suyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñatva moksha se shubhat. Moksha se shubhat. Now this moksha se shubhat is an interesting thing, is that he say, I will impart to you this secret knowledge, having known which you will be released from evil. So moksha se is actually a passive form here. Now the tip off there is the Atmanepadam ending. Moksha, it's a future tense, but it's passive. Moksha se means you will be released, not that you will release. So it is a passive form. It's very important to remember this language. Very simple rule is Sutra number 1313, Bhava Karmanoho, and so if it has to be passive, it has to be Atmanepadam. Okay, so I think I mentioned this one or two times, but worth repeating because it's a very nice rule because it kind of makes life very easy, So let me put that in the document. Is that by 1313, all passive has to be Atmanepadam. In passive forms. So this can be exercise for you now. You can take all the Bhagavad Gita, take all the Atmanepadi dhatus, all those forms, and you can then try to recognize which ones are passive in there. Only Atmanepadi ending, only Atmanepadam. Affixes can be used. The one more thing about passive is that if you have the passive form and the following pratyas is a sarvadhatukam, then you get sarvadhatuke yak. So basically in these 4 lakaras, the lat, lot, lung and vidiling. In these 4 lakaras you will have the passive marker ya coming in there, like drishyate, gamyate. So these forms when you have like anubhuyate, but that will happen only in these 4 lakaras only, the lat, lot, lung, vidiling, because that's sutram sarvadhatuke yak. It requires sarvadhatuke. The remaining lakaras, the pratyaya is not sarvadhatuka because it gets overruled by something or something other things happen. So the sarvadhatuke yak is good, but it only happens in the 4 lakaras, lat, lot, lung, vidiling. So that's when we have sarvadhatuke pratyaya pare. Right now we are looking at the lung lakara. So unfortunately with that yak pratyaya did not come for us. We look at lung lakara. So I'll put the 3167, that yak, the marker yak, the passive marker yak, only anubandha lope, only ya. So that's where it makes it a little difficult because if you're not in one of these 4 lakaras, then there may not be anything there to tell you that this is a passive form. You look at the context, see what fits in the context, and also try to look at the meaning, see what's going on. The passive marker yak only comes in the lat, then the lot, lat, lot, because other places it gets overruled. And then the lung and the vidiling. Okay, but for us right now we are looking at a lung lakara, so that will not help us. One more thing I want to quickly show you is that entire section of the 1.3, where Panini talks about when to use Atmanepadi endings, Atmanepadam, when to use Parasmapadam affixes, and that all comes in 1.3. It starts from 1.3.12. It says, Anudattagnyata Atmanepadam. So is there ever a question of when to use which ending? Because when you have the Tiptaji, etc., there are two sets of 9 plus 9. So you have to know which one to use, which dhatu can allow which ending. And that starts in 1.3.12, Anudattagnyata Atmanepadam, up to the end of 1.3. This is the place in the Ashtadhyayi where Panini tells us which ending to use. That is the 1.3.13 is the very next sutram, Bhavakarmanoho. That is what says that in the passive we can only use Atmanepadam endings. And that goes on. And so these are all the Atmanepadi ending rules. And then a little bit below that comes the those dhatus which might be Ubhayapadi dhatus. Swarita Nyata, Kartavipraya Kriya Phale. And then comes below that Sheshat Kartari Parasmapadam. So Shesha Karti Parasmapadam. So from 1.3.78 comes the Parasmapadam. And the 72 has there the Ubhayapadi dhatus starting from here, and then 78 starts the Parasmapadam. So anyway, 1.3 is the section where you want to go. So for us the form Abhyabhavi, and last time I think as Karthik said, the first thing which you should know in the form Abhyabhavi is the Adagama. There is an Adagama here because the dhatu is, the Upasarga is Abhi. There are only 22 Upasargas. Only 22 of them can function as Upasargas. Not anymore. And they are given in the Sutram Pradayaha. There's a Gana of Panini called Pradayaha, which comes in 1.4. Panini gives this Gana. Under that Gana, you'll find a listing of these 22. And you should kind of keep this list handy. They're very, very, very useful. They occur in many places. You should know which 22 they are. For example, there is an Upasarga called Ang. A is an Upasarga. But there is no Upasarga called A. So you cannot say Aham Agachami. But Agachami is okay. But Agachami is not. So you should keep these 22 in mind, which of them they are. So clearly, if you look at the list of 22 under that 1.4.58, Pradayaha, Abhi is one of that in that list. So if you suspect Upasarga is there, look at that list under 1.4.58 and try to find which one it is. So Abhi is in that list. So Abhi a bhavi. Now, as I said to you, the Adagama comes in 3 lakaras only, which is lung, lung, rung, shvardataha. 6.4.71. 6.4.71 tells us that only when these 3 lakaras are there, then you get the Adagamaha. Lung, lung, and rung, out of which the rung is extremely rare and very easy to spot because you can get the pratyaya sya in between there, like abhavishyat, akarishyat. In Gita, no place is 0, and it's very, very rare. So if you have an Adagama with the sya in there, then only it can be rung. Most of the time it is not there. So most of the time it comes down to either lung or lung. And to be honest with you, the best way to learn lung is that you, if you can rule out the lung, then you got lung. That's probably easier because the lung has many rules, many varieties. It is it is very difficult lakara to master. But unfortunately, it is not very uncommon. So you have to know that. Like in Gita, last few shloka, Ashrausham comes in Gita. Ashrausham, then Ma Shuchaha, Ma Gamaha, all these. So there are 2 ways to learn the lung lakara. One way is to rule out the lung. Lung is left behind. The second way is to look where all the ma's come, because mangi, lung, another Pani Sutram is there. So when in conjunction with the prohibition particle ma, also lung has to be used. So in Gita we have magamaha, ma shuchaha, all these comes in Gita. So here what do we have here? We have abhavi. Now if this had been lung, the form would have been what? It would become what? Abhi abhuyata. Abhyabhuyata would have been the lung form in the passive. This is not abhyabhuyata because we look at third person singular. In fact, we don't see the ya over there at all in the lung lakara. So that if it's passive and it is lung, we should have the gana that the vikaranam yak should have come there. So that tells you this is not lung. It's not lung because maybe I'll put that down there because if it were a lung lakara form, we would have had the form if I just put that the abhuyata would have been the lung lakara form. Abhuyata. And this you should be able to do because it's very simple. You take the dhatu bhu, add the pratyapmanipadam ta, and then put the yak in between, and that's it. You're done. Abhibhuyata. So would have been the lung, and we don't have abhibhuyata. We have abhyabhavi. So that will now tell you this has to be lung lakara. And once you know that, and if you know what the dhatu is, you can look up the details. You can look at the details. Would have been the lung form of this. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, last time I mentioned these two rules which are used to form this form. And this is a very special form which is only reserved for the third person singular passive. And the two rules are this chin bhava karmanoho and chino look. Chin bhava karmanoho is that the shabde. So when you have this the, which is the third person singular ending in Atmanipadam, and if it is in the passive bhava karmanoho, then chin overrules the other default pratyas in the lung lakara. In lung lakara, we really normally have the chili lungi chile sich. This pratyaya sich comes as the default, but that all is overruled for this special form in the third person singular Atmanipada, passive only, and we get this pratyaya called chin. Chin is Panini's name for it, only means an E only comes there. And because if you actually look at the default pratyaya, should have been this this 3144 would have given this chilehe sich. The sich pratyaya would have come, the sich, only sakara would have come. But that all is overruled by this special rule, which says chin bhava karmanoho, only ta shabde pare. It's only for that single form. The remaining will not take this chin pratyaya. So what happened was that, as we did in last time, we had the abhi plus the adagamaha plus we had bhu, and then we had ta. The chin came in between there, the chin bha. And then after that, of course, because the chin has the na as an it, you can do the vriddhi of the end. Yes.
Sadishi, just wanted to mention that the Kashika says it's an adesha for chili.
Yeah, all these are chili adeshas.
Okay.
See what Kalpesh's point making is that what Pani does is that first he puts the chili in between there. So no matter what form you have in the lung, the chili comes in first. There are some reasons for that, but let's not go into today. But Pani puts the chili, and then all these others are coming as chili adeshas, as Kalpesh is saying. But the default is chile sich. So the 3144 is the default. Chile sich is the default. So chili is just like a placeholder. That becomes sich as the default. That's why I went to sich directly, but Kalpesh is right. Chili is actually the pratyaya which comes. The chili never stays. It never stays because immediately chili becomes sich. So 3144, the chili will become sich as the default all the time, unless overruled by something else. And in our case, the sich is overruled by this chin bhava karmanoho. So this is also a chili adesha. Or in lung lakara, all of these are chili adeshas because the chili is a default. And for that, the sich is an adesha by default again. And others might overrule that. Okay, so yes, so technically we should go the two steps. We should put the chili by that 31, I think 42 it was. So 3143 we should put chili first and then put the chin bhava karmanoho. So maybe we'll do that. So 3143. So from last time, I can just edit this document. I will put I'll just put the number here. Maybe that will do it for us. I'll put the 3143 and then put 3166. Okay. So we get the chili lungi, chile sich praptaha. But chin bhava karmanoho is the apavada for that. So then we got chin, and then because the it letters, first thing remove the it letters. It letters are chutu, cho is in it, and the halantyam, no is in it. Then we get the achodnyati, the vriddhi for the ending ukara of bhu, become bhav. Then you do echo yavayava sandhi becomes bhav. So we got a, bhav, e plus ta. And then finally that the 64104 says chino look. Chino look removes that the ta pratyaya which is coming after the chili. So that's what makes this one easy to identify. So if you see this e ending lung form like that in the third person singular, it has to be third person singular. It will end in the e because the chino look will remove the pratyaya after that. So that's why, and it will probably be a vriddhi inside over there because it's going to do the vriddhi. Or because the chin will also make the, I'll give you another sutram for the chin which you might want to make a note of. But so how do we identify this form the next time around? Is that it has to be passive, it has to be third person singular, it has to be ending in the e, it has to have the adagama in there because chino look will remove the e. This chin pratyaya, if the dhatu is ending in a, you'll also get the ya in between, that you get the because the atoyuk chin karma, atoyuk chin kritoho. So if the dhatu is ending in a, you'll also have a ya in between in there. They become adayi. If the dhatu da was there, that would have become adayi. So anyway, so that is this special form. Again, not very common, unfortunately not very uncommon either. So you will see it. So chin also appears in this 7333 atoyuk chin kritoho. Just we don't have that here because right now with dhatu ending in bhu. I mean the bhu was a dhatu, we make it bhav. If the dhatu is ending in long a, we'll get the yuk agama also. Okay, so that was what we did last time, abhavi. So again, abhavi is a past tense form, means he was attacked or he was overpowered by her. So now when we do that, since Rama is the karma, he has become. Now to give a little very quick tour of the Karaka land. Karakas is that which vibhakti to use. Now Rama is the karma. He is the object of the attack. So normally we have karmani dvitiya. Karmani dvitiya is that we have to use the.
Satish,
Yes.
I'm sorry. The only way I can interrupt is I have to say something. I don't have a raise a hand, so please pardon me.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
3162. What stops 3162? That is the acha karma kartari.
Let's see the 3162. Let's see what is that. 3162 is the.
What it says, lungi chle, it also gives you the chin adesha. Anyatrasyam.
Okay.
And he brings it in kartari also.
Yeah, karma kartari. I think what that is karma kartari is like the let's see. In fact, we haven't used the. Let's inaugurate our. This is a technical term. This karma kartari. Okay. Let's look at the what Abhyankarji has to say in karma kartari. Let's look at that karma kartari. Karma kartari. Karma kartari. Karma kartari. Karma kartari.
Of course, if we consider this as karmani, then everything makes sense.
Yes. That but let's look at, because karma kartari is let's see, karma kartari. We go back a little bit. Karma sadhana, karma naman, karma vadbhavaha, karman. Karma kartari. Karma dharyaha. Karma kartru. Yes, karma kartru. This is the object of a transitive verb, which functions as a subject when it is marked. When it's a marked facility of action. For example, odana. Karma kartri object function is a subject, like pachyate odanaha swayameva. So like when we say that the rice gets cooked, the rice is cooked by itself. So it doesn't really, the object of a transitive verb, which functions as a subject when there is a marked facility of the action. So the word karma kartri is used also for the karma kartri prayoga, where the object on which the verb activity is found is turned. So when the object becomes a subject, basically, it's a very special usage, and the verb which is transitive is turned into intransitive as a result. So in that special case, only that one can be used, When you have, for example, but here, we have the Tadaka is in a Tritiya. She is acting as the subject of this, So Rama didn't become the subject, the subject himself. This can only be used when the object becomes the subject itself, and that the subject is kind of removed. So that's called karma kartari. So that karma becomes the karta, basically. So that is called karma kartru. And here the karma was Rama. He was not the karta, because he was attacked by her. So that's only in that sense you can use that what Kalpesh was saying. So that's a very special usage. It is not very common usage. It says pachyate odanaha swayameva. So the rice cooks, Rice is cooked rather. That's all. There's no other subject is mentioned. So the object itself becomes the subject. So that's a special usage which we should apply. So we don't have that, because clearly we have Tadaka as a subject over here. Okay. So I was going to the I was going to the one where was I? Abhyabhavi. Oh yeah, Karakas, yes. Now the question is, Rama is the object of this action, because he is being attacked. Now normally our first rule which you should know is karmani dvitiya. For example, Ramaha Sitam pashyati. Rama looks at Sita. Now Sita clearly is the object of the action. She becomes dvitiya. But the question is, now Rama has become prathama over here now. So how come Rama is the object, and how come he is in the prathama? But of course the answer is because it's passive. But in the Paninian way, how do we overrule this sutram karmani dvitiya? Because remember one more thing is that Rama is still the karma, that his karmatvam is not lost. Even in the passive, he is definitely the object of the attack. So no matter if the speaker wants to use an active voice or a passive voice, regardless, he is the object of the action. There is no doubt about that. That will not change. Whether you are using an active voice or passive voice, the karma sanya and the kartru sanya will not change. Tadaka will be the kartri in this case, and Ramaha will be the karma. That will not change. Then we need something to stop karmani dvitiya. Because that sutram says that, when you have a karma, you have to use dvitiya. But that has a condition on that. And that's why I'm bringing this up right now, is that the 231 says anabhihite. Anabhihite. Anabhihite means what? Means when it is untold, undescribed. So anabhihite karmani dvitiya. What that means is that if that karma has not already been indicated by the verb or the participle, then only it takes dvitiya. One more time. When that karma, even for the other karaka also similar thing is happening, but particularly for the karma, when the karma is not indicated by the verb or the participle, only then dvitiya. If not, it defaults to the prathama. By the that comes much later. Everything defaults to the so 2346. It defaults to prathama. That's a 2346. When it becomes abhite, this 2346 is like a long, clumsy sutram, very controversial sutram. So it is chirakalam vivadagrastam sutram. It's been controversial for many, many hundreds of years now. Just keep it simple. 2346 basically, if it becomes abhite, then it goes to prathama. Just simple 2346. Simplified for these classes. In 2346, it becomes abhite. Abhite means what? The verb is indicating that form. Now what's the verb? Our verb is abhyabhavi. Now abhyabhavi, as I said, can only be used in the third person singular passive. So Abhyabhavi is telling us already that that karma is somebody who is third person singular. So Abhyabhavi has already described the karma for us. It has already told us that the karma is going to be someone who is the Prathama Purusha, and it's going to be Ekavachanam. So that made Rama as Abhitaha. So he was described by the verb, in this case the verb. It could have been, if you look at the commentary, it says Abhibhutaha. It could have been a participle form also. Regardless, Rama has become Abhita. And that's the reason why that Karmani Dvitiya is stopped. That's only Anabhite. The other example I gave you is Ramaha Sitam Pashyati. Now, the Pashyati form does not tell you anything about Sita, because Pashyati only links to Ramaha only. Rama sees. Could be anything. Ramaha Lankam Pashyati, Ramaha Rakshasan Pashyati, Ramaha Ayodhyam Pashyati, Ramaha, Vrikshan Pashyati. Could be anything. So that Pashyati did not tell you anything about the object. But in our case, this is not true. When you make it passive, the verb starts describing the object. And when that happens, the Anabhita condition is violated, because now it has become Abhita. So this is the Paninian way of making the karma in the Prathama Vibhakti. It still remains the karma. So keep it, the karma becomes Prathama in the passive. And then what about the Kartri in this case, which is Tadaka? Now, normally we say Ramaha Sitam Pashyati, Rama goes in Prathama. Rama defaults to the Prathama, because he has become Abhita. But now that Tadaka is Anabhita now, because the Abhyabhavi form told us only about Ramaha. Now it could have been anybody. The Karta could be anybody in this case. You could say Ramaha Rakshasaihi Abhyabhavi. So it could have been anybody else. It could have been Ramaha Ravanena Abhyabhavi. So Abhyabhavi told us nothing about Tadaka at all. So she is now going to be Anabhite. And then the Sutram tells us that, Kartukaranayo Tritiya. So by 2.3.18, she will go in the Tritiya. So interesting Sutram. Look at Sutram 2.3.18. It says Kartru Karanayo Tritiya. So the default for the Kartru is Tritiya Vibhakti. Sounds very strange, doesn't it? Because normally we would think the Karta should be Prathama. Ramaha Sitam Pashyati, Ramaha Vanam Gacchati, and all that, But actually, when the Kartru is Anabhite, he goes in Tritiya, and that happens in the passive. So the bottom line is that by 2.3.18, because Tadaka was Anabhite, because the verb told us nothing about her, she is going to take the Tritiya Vibhakti, and Ramaha become Abhitaha. So Abhyabhavi told us about him. So he is going to take the default Prathama, because there is a 2.3.46. So let me just put that in the document. Because I know in English books we just say, that in the passive the agent goes in the third case and the object goes in the first case and all that. I just wanted to run you one time the Paninian way of how to assign these vibhaktis, in the active and passive. So maybe what I'll do is that, so 2.3.46 will give us the vibhakti of Ramaha, and then the 2.3.18 will give vibhakti of Tadaka. As I mentioned to you also, if before assigning any vibhakti, you have to find one sutram in 2.3, which will authorize that. There's only one pada of the Ashtadhyayi, which tells you which vibhakti to put for what. So no vibhakti ending can be used until in 2.3, some statement in 2.3 will allow you to use it. So it's a small pada also. If you really want to master vibhaktis, this is the way to do it. It's only about 73 sutras, okay, in 2.3. And that is the one that you want to keep an eye on. Only 73 rules. I mean, considering Ashtadhyayi is 4,000 rules plus, only 73 rules to tell you which vibhakti to use. Well, okay, so what I'll do is that I'll put in the document that so Ramaha, so Rama is is the object. He is the karma. We should put it as Rama. But what has happened is that he has become abhihita, means described by the verb. So, but he is abhihita. This is the Paninian term. How about in Gita? Where is the form abhihita coming in Gita? Anybody? Raise your hand. Chapter number 2.
Yeshamte Vita Sankhya.
Yeshate Vita Sankhya Buddhi Yoge Timam Shuno. Buddhya Yukto Yaya Partha Karmabandham Prahasyasi Neha Vikramana Shosti Tatyavayo Navidyate. This is in second adhyaya. So you're in the middle of second adhyaya. So Yeshate, this dhatu is abhi plus dha. This abhidha means to narrate, to tell, to describe, to indicate. So Lord Krishna says, Yeshate Vita Sankhya Buddhi Yoge Timam Shuno. So this thinking has been told to you from the point of view of Sankhya. So the Sankhya doctrine. So Buddhi Abhita has been described to you. So, but he's Abhita. So Rama become Abhita. In Vyakaranam, it means described by it became described by the verb. So therefore, he will not take the Dvitiya, but he will default to the Prathama, default to the first case by. Every time when you do this, next time you won't go through this, because when you have the passive form, this is what happens. So the karma becomes abhita, and then by 2-3-46, and by 2-3-18, the Tataka, she is the Tataka who is the who is the Anabhita Karta, Kartri I should say. She's Anabhita. She went to the Titiya. Anabhita. Kartri in this case. So she went to the, takes the third case by 2-3-18. Okay, so one time we've done this, so takes the third case. All right, so now there are a bunch of adjectives here. Let us see what all and what does the commentary say. Try to follow the commentary as much as you can, and if you don't understand something, it's okay. So first, he takes the objectives starts with the Tivra Vega Dhuta Marga Vrikshaya. This, first of all, at the very first sight of this samasaha, you can say it's 100% of Bahuvrihi compound. Why is that? Because linga parivartanam drishyate. That vriksha is like Ramavat Shabda. It will be vrikshaha, it will be vrikshau, vrikshaha, vriksham, vrikshau, vrikshan, vrikshena. So vrikshena, should have been the Tritiya Vibhakti of vriksha. It became vrikshaya. So clearly the vriksha has become vriksha, like a Sitavat Shabda, or Latavat, and become vrikshaya. That can only happen because it is Anyapada Pradhana. The compound is indicating somebody else. Of course, in this context, we already talked about it. This whole compound is talking about Tadaka. So vriksha doesn't have pradhanyam in this. The pradhanyam is for the Tadaka. And now comes the Vigraha Vakyam is given down there. Is Tivra Vegena Dhutaha equals Kampitaha Marga Vrikshaha Yaya. So Tathoktaya, so who was of this kind. This is an adjective describing her. So which means that Tivra Vega. Notice that in the Tivra Vega, Malinatha did not give the Vigraha Vakyam because it's straightforward Karmadhare Samasa. So Tivrascha Sau Vegascha Tivra Vegaha. Now he's not going to give us those kind of details because they're very, very simple, very, very straightforward Karmadharya compound. If you want to collapse the brackets, you put a bracket on Tivra Vega. And then because the Tivra Vega is Karmadharya is a bheda of the Tatpurusha. Tatpurusha is Uttar Pradhana. So the Tivra can be removed. Once you analyze Tivra Vega, the Vega has a Pradhanyam. So now Tivra can be removed for the further analysis. So once you take the bracket for further analysis with the remaining parts of the Samasaha, the Tivra part can be removed because you already accounted for it. When the Karmadhara accounts for the Tivra part of it, you don't have to deal with it again. So Tivra Vega will be the first bracket, and that's what Malinatha is doing for you. And once you say Tivra is qualifying Vega, Tivra means like intense, and also means sharp, or it can mean in this case a high speed, by the high speed. So once you say high speed, the high can be now, we already accounted for that, so that part is done. Then let's look at Vegena. Now Vegena Dhrutaha is clearly a Tritiya Tatpurushaha. Vegena Dhrutaha is Tritiya Tatpurushaha, means Dhatu Dhu is to shake, Why this Dhatu is also has a long Dhu and short Dhu. Add to your vocabulary, particularly your Dhatu vocabulary should be very, very, what should I say, alert to pick up these Dhatus, because they are the basis of the whole language. The more Dhatus you can add to your Dhatu bank, the quicker you are going to learn this language. Unlike English, because you have to learn a million words to learn English, learn literally a million words. But here we have only a few hundred Dhatus. Dhatu part has only 2,000 Dhatus, out of which, believe it or not, more than half are never used. More than half are never used. This is unbelievable, but it is true. Because that much of the language probably has been lost. So more than half of the Dhatus are almost never used. So that leaves you with only a few hundred, out of which if you know, Gujarati or Bengali or Telugu or anything, you know most of them you already know from your language. But just understanding what they are and what they mean, it's very, very useful. So Dhatu Dhu. Now, this Dhatu, the long varieties comes in Gita. Nirdhuta Kalmashaha, Vidya Vinay, I think chapter 5. In chapter 5, you have in Bhagavad Gita this form Nirdhuta, but that is the long Dhu. This is the short Dhu. But they're also just the same participle form. I think it's chapter 5. Let me try to find it. I think I went past it. Here it is. 517. I found it. So Jnana Nirdhuta Kalmashaha. Nirdhuta means the same, shaken off. Those whose impurities have been washed off by knowledge. It's a Bahuvri compound. Very similar here also what we have in the Raghuvamsham is that a Duta Vriksha. So she was one by whom the trees were shaken up. So it's a Bahuvri here also in Gita 5.17. So let's see here. Now what is given is that now Marga Vriksha is again he's giving the Dhutaha equals Kampitaha. So now add to your Dhatu bank one more item, Dhatu Kamp. Kampa is the English word compassion comes from this Dhatu. Compassion in English comes from Dhatu Kamp. Because compassion means Kampa is to shake. Anukampa is to shake along with somebody. Means you kind of sympathize. To sympathize with somebody is to Anukampa. So Anukampa. So English compassion is the same Kampa. So what he's telling us is Dhutaha equals Kampita, because Dhatu Dhu may not be that very common. So he's telling us, Dhatu Dhu is to shake. Dhatu Dhu also may mean to wash off. So he's telling you not washing off. He's telling you. There's also one more thing. When the commentator gives you another Dhatu, another same form, he will do that many times when a particular Dhatu has many meanings. He will want to make sure you understand that this is in this meaning, not in the other meaning of Dhatu Dhu. Dhu might mean to wash also. So she was not washing the trees. She was shaking the trees. Now Kampa doesn't mean to wash. It only means to shake. So he is making sure you understand that Dhatu Dhu is used in the sense of Kampa. So that's why he bothers to give you that Dhuta equals kampitaha. Remember, these commentators will not waste a single word. They will not waste a single word. So they will only give you precisely what you need. Okay? Of course, some commentators are more detailed than others, but this one he's giving you that. Then marga vrikshaha, there's no detail of that. So this is probably going to be a simple shashi tatpurushaha. Margasya vrikshaha. So the simple karmadharyas, simple shashi tatpurushas, you will not get the commentary for that. Okay? So marga vrikshaha, very simple. The trees of the street or of the road, of the way, of the path. So yaya. So she was the one by whom the trees along the road were shaken up by her high speed. So tivra vegena, which is a karmadharya, and tivra vegena dhutaha made it into a titiya tatpurushaha. That was qualifying the vrikshaha. The marga came in between just to tag on to the vriksha as shashti tatpurushaha. And so that if you make it simple, if you want to break down the samasa to make it simpler, dhuta vrikshaya would have been a very simple form of this one. Dhuta vrikshaya. So dhutaha vrikshaha yaya. So by whom the trees were shaken. The other things are like extras in between, So the marga came with vrikshaha, and then the tivra vega. At first vega came with dhuta, then tivra was tagged on to vega. So that's the analysis of the compound. So by her, we are in the passive form, and she is the karta. So she has taken kartri, I should say. So she has taken the prathama vibhakti tritiya vibhakti, because she's the anabhita kartri she is. So the kartu karanayo tritiya 2, 3, 18. So this is tritiya vibhakti. Now one more qualifying for her. Now you have to watch this, upama kalidasasya, right? Now we have a upama in the bottom line there, the vatyaya iva pitra kananothaya. Now Kalidasa, what he does is that this is his poetic greatness, I guess, is he chooses these adjectives to work both ways. So these adjectives will work with tadaka and the vatyaya also, and the vatya, I should say. Vatya is like a gust of wind, is the vata samuha is vatya. So vatya like a strong wind or a hurricane. That's vatya. So now he's going to choose the adjectives which will go with tadaka and with that hurricane or the strong wind. So first one, clearly that he said that by its high speed, it has shaken up the trees. That can go both ways. Then preta chivara vasa. This chivara is a strange word. Dhatu is chi. Unadipatya has been used over here. So chivara means really tyaktam jirnam vastram. Now, chivara is not a very common word. So maybe Mulinatha could have given us a comment. Now, why is he not giving us a commentary on this one? Because what does he say? Preta chivarani vaste iti preta chivaravaha. Chivaravaha. So what he's telling us is that this is a upapada samasaha. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this class before, but the trademark of upapada samasa is that in the vigraha vakyam, if you see a tingantam padam, that will immediately tell you that you have a upapada samasa. One more time. In the vigraha vakyam, assuming you have the vigraha vakyam, if you see a tingantam padam, a verbal form, then you know that you have upapada samasa. See what is given us. Preta chivarani. Preta means jirna vastarani. Vaste means that she's wearing these rags from the corpses. So she became the preta chivaravas. The pratipadikam is preta chivaravas. When declined, like apsaras. When declined, it became preta chivaravaha. So preta chivaravaha is like apsaras. So apsaraha. So like apsaraha, I'll give you sutram for that. So preta chivaravaha is actually a prathama vibhakti of preta chivaravas. And that's the upapada samasa. And clearly it's probably quip pratyaya has come here. Quip means a zero. So if you see in the vigraha vakyam a tingantam padam, that is the best way to learn the upapada samasas. Upapada samasas are subset of Tatpurusha Samasa. The subset of Tatpurusha Samasa. There are a special case, I should say, of the Tatpurusha Samasas. There is only one sutram of Panini. Is very quickly. Let me. If you want to form any samasa, you have to start with one sutram in 2.1 or 2.2. Those are the only two Ashtadhyayi-padas which tell you, authorize the use of a samasa. And there comes Upapadam Ating. Upapadam Ating, this 2.2.19. Very quickly, without spending too much time, is that Upapadam Ating tells us that normally to form a samasa, you have to have two subantas ready. You say Raja Purushaha, Rajnya Purushaha, the king's man. The king is a subanta, Purusha is subanta, you compound them. What happens in Upapad Samasas is that the two sups are not ready. Because take our example right now, we have Preta Chivara Vas. Now, Vas is a dhatu. It is not a Pradipadikam. It's not a Pradipadikam. So then Panini's question is that now, how can we form this samasaha when we don't have the subantam ready as yet. So the way that Panini gets around the problem is that he says upapadam ating. If you have a qualified upapada, that can compound with another term, not necessarily subanta, another term, as long as you're not forming a tinganta form. That's what Panini says. Is that upapadam samarthena shabdantarena samasyate. See, normally you should say supa samasyate, but he says samarthena, which is a connected term, which need not be a ready sup, which is not going to be ready sup, as long as you're not creating a tingantam padam. So upapadam ating is a single sutram, from which you start to form upapada samasaha. So the upapadam ating. Now the question comes is that which upapadas can be used, which dhatus, using what pratyayas to form these samasas. Upapadam ating only tells us that if there is a qualified upapadam, then you can form this samasa as long as the tinganta is not being formed. Vasu has a question.
Yes. Satishji,
yes.
You use samarthena.
Yes.
Samartha itself is a sutra, right?
The sutram is this because there is the when you start this 2-1-1 samartha padavidhi. Samartha means there has to be a connection between these two words. You cannot blindly form samasas, when there is no logical connection between the terms. The simple word of samartha means it has a samarthyam, means the ability to form a logical connection. That's the samarthyam.
Okay. It doesn't mean a sama artha. No,
not that will be saman artha. No. Samartha only means that which is logically connected in this case. That's what it means.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. So, okay, now what happens is that which upapadas are authorized to use with which dhatus, with what pratyayas. That all is defined in the third adhyaya now. So you start from this 2 to 19 upapadamating, and then go on to the third chapter, where Panini starts defining these upapadas, and that starts from the 3.192. Panini says, Tatropapadam saptami stham. Tatra means asmin tritiye dhatu adhikare. In this third dhatu adhikara, we start from 3.191. In this section, if something is indicated by the saptami, so which means like, I'll give you an example shortly, then that is called upapadam. So that 2.2, I think 19 that we saw, that comes and ties into 3.192. And from there, Panini starts Tatra upapadam saptami stham. So now we will find out which upapadas can be used with what dhatus, and then what pratyayas can they take. And even though this thing goes from 3.192 to pretty much the end of 3.4, the main section where Panini defines upapadas, not all of them, but many of them, is from 3 to 1 to 3 to 100. From 3 to 1 to 3 to 1. In fact, we already saw one today. But agrajaha. Agre jayati agrajaha. So that also is upapada samasa. But the ja cannot stand on its own. One more way to look at it in English is that in the upapada samasa, that uttara padam does not have the swatantriyam. It cannot stand on its own. So when we have the preta chivara vas, just the vas could not be used. If the vas can be formed independently, then we don't need upapada samasa, we don't need them. But like we say, when you say agrajaha, you cannot say jayati iti jaha. You have to have that agre, that agra has to be there or something else has to be there. Then only that ja form can be used. So same thing here. We need that upapada. That's why they call upapada samasas. Upapadam has to be there in order for that form to exist in the compound. So now here from 3 to 1 to 3 to 100 is this section. I think I'm repeating a lot of things we repeated before, but anyway, this is a new class, and we have some new people coming also. So hopefully this upapada samasas, when you do, you start from upapadam ating to 219, then come to that 3190, I think 2 it was, which says tatra upapadam saptamistham, and that will lead you to this main section is 3 to 1 to 3 to 100, and there is a very blanket rule which tells us that, let me take a quick example before we go to our rule. Let's take 3 to 1. It says karmanyan. For example, kumbhakaraha, bhashyakaraha, sutrakaraha. So when it says is that when you have a karma as upapada, so it says karmani. That karmanyan in the 3 to 1, the karmani is in saptami vibhakti. It's the 7th case. So, and we saw already that tatra upapadam saptamistham. Tatra upapadam saptamistham. Saptamistham means that not the exact word karman itself, but any object, not the word karman, but any object will qualify as an upapada. It didn't say which dhatu. So any dhatu can be used. And the pratyaya an has to be used with that. So kumbham karoti iti kumbhakaraha. So you have kumbha, and then you use the dhatu kru, and use the pratyaya an. So it told us that karma can qualify as an upapada as long as an is being used, and any dhatu can be used to form this kind of a compound. So the one that we want right now is we don't have the pratyaya an, we have a 0 right now. The dhatu was vas, and nothing seems to be added to that. So we have a 0 being added to that. And that is this 3276 is a blanket sutram which says quipcha. So quipcha can be, so any dhatu can take this quip pratyaya to form a upapada samasaha. In fact, actually this one even goes beyond that and says that even without upapada also quip can be used. So right now what we have is that we have the preta chi. First of all, between preta and chivara, it's going to be simply a shashti tatpurusha, which I told you many times, the commentator will not give you that. We're not going to see that in the commentary. So what we have is the preta chivara is going to be pretanam, so chivarani. So she says, so Malinatha will not break that up for you because it's too easy. So pretanam chivarani vaste iti preta chivaravaha. So we have, let me just go to the document now. So the first important point which we saw is that in the Vigraha Vakyam. Vigraha Vakyam is what is called a sentence which explains the samasa, explanatory sentence. That's called Vigraha. Vigraha means to break apart or to describe it, So in the Vigraha Vakyam, so there is a Vigraha Vakyam which is going to be the Laukika Vigraha and Alaukika Vigraha. So which is going to be non-technical and technical. I should put in the Laukika Vigraha Vakyam. Laukika means in simple sentence terms, The Laukika Vigraha Vakyam of the Vigraha Vakyam of a Upapada Samasaha, you will see a Tingantam Padam. And that, if you remember that much only, when you read the commentaries and everything, you can easily pick up these Upapada Samasas. So of a Upapada Samasaha will contain a otherwise we will not have a Tingantam Padam, a Tinganta form, means a verbal form, Tingantam. Let's put Tingantam. Okay, so that's the first thing we saw. And then the 2219 is a sutram that you start with. Just check the number again, I think it's the right number. So that stays at Upapadam Mating. And then that points you to this main section is so, and then we go to 3192 I should say, Tatra Upapadam Saptami Stham. And then finally we come to, okay, yeah, correct, 2219 is correct. So 2219, and then comes the 3192, and then I will put the main section is from 321 to 32100, and there the one that we need right now I think is 3276, which says the quip can be used with any dhatu, with any dhatu, as long as upada is there. In fact, actually, if upada is not there, also it can be used. So quip is a blanket. The quip is the entire quip is a zero. Why is the quip a zero? Because the po is a hid by halantyam, the ka by the shakvatadite, the ikara is by the upadeshajana nasika it, and finally the va remains. And when the va of the v remains behind single, with nobody, when he's behind alone, he also goes away. So that sutram, I'll give you that number. That's I think 6167 is Vera Pruktasya. Vera Pruktasya. Vera Pruktasya says that if Aprukta is Ekal Pratyaya, so when he's singly left behind single, in that case this Va also goes away. So this 61, I think it's 67, Vera Pruktasya. Vera Pruktasya. Yeah, 6167. Even the finally the va also goes away by 6167. Other rules I think you already know. By 6167 the va goes away. Va drops. So okay. Now I mentioned to you this Vigraha Vakyam. What you would have to do is that when you write the Alaukika Vigraha, I mean the technical description of this compound, then we will make it like this. Make it Preta Chivarani, Chivara I should say, and then you put the pratyaya shas. Because why the pratyaya shas is because this is the karma, the object of that. So because because Smalinatha told us that the preta chivarani is going to be, you can look at the Laukika Vigraha and then connect back to the preta chivarani vaste iti preta chivaravaha. So normally, actually, you know what? There is a small technicality here. Is that normally shas should have been used, but what happens is that here, okay, let's look at this one for 1 second. Is that the sutram is karmani dvitiya. When we already saw that today, when the karma is there, dvitiya has to be used. But there's one more sutram which says that the Kartru Karmanoha Kriti 2365 tells us that the Kartru and the Karma has to take a Shashti Bhakti when Krut Pratyaya is being used. So this 2365 it says Kartru Karmanoha Kriti. Very important sutram, very kind of not that well known by a lot of people. But the Kartru Karmanoha Kriti is an important apavada for this Karmani Dvitiya. And it says that if you have Krut Pratyaha, then Shashti has to be used for both the Kartru and the Karma. We can say Balakasya Hasanam, Krishnasya Kritihi. So the Balakasya Hasanam we say. We say Krishnasya Kritihi. So in these places Shashti has to be used. But then how come we say Ramaha Manasya Shobham Pashyan Gacchati? Ramaha goes watching the beauty of the forest. That Pashyan also Krut Pratyaya is also a participle. Then how did we say Shobham Pashyan Gacchati? How come Shobha became Dvitiya Vibhakti? because this 2365 has important apavada in the 2369. We'll not go in details today, but then the 2369 will put back the will put back the Dvitiya Vibhakti in those different cases, that the Nalokavya and all that. So, but this is only if Krut Pratyaya is there. Otherwise, no. When you say Rama Sitam Pashyati, we don't have the Pashyati Tinganta form. Krut thing, right? Krut a thing. So so when you say Rama Sitam Pashyati, the Pashyati is not a Krut Pratyaya form. In that case, this Sutra 265 will not apply. So Dvitiya only will stay by default by 232. But if we have any participle form in there, then the first stop is to come to 2365 and use the Shashti Bhakti. And for that 2365, the 2369 is an Apavadaha, where there are some very important Krut Pratyayas. For example, aham vanam gantum ichchami. Now vanam took Dvitiya, even though gantum is a Krut Pratyaya. Then how come we got Dvitiya there? Because the 2369 mentions that Avyayas will take Dvitiya again. So now I was about to show you why I get into all of this now, because I was about to show you that you can look at the Laukika Vigraha Vakyam and according to that make the Alaukika Vigraha Vakyam, because we already know Preta Chivarani Vastaiti Preta Chivaravaha. So we may be tempted to say Preta Chivara plus Shas, but unfortunately that Shas only came because in the Vigraha Vakyam he has the Vaste form, which is a Tinganta form. It is not a Krut Pratyaya. But while we are doing the Alaukika Vigraha down here, we have to put actually the Pratyaya Am, which is the Shashti Bhavachanam. So put the Shashti Bhavachanam and then put the Vas. And if you didn't understand all this, don't worry about it. It's kind of technical right now. But this 2365, just put the number there also, but Vas plus Quip. So that is what we had. And then what happens is that within a Pratipadikam a sup is dropped by Supo Dhatu Pratipadika Yoho. So this entire compound gets a Pratipadika Sanya because of Krut Tadita Samasascha. And then within a compound, within a Pratipadikam, you cannot have a sup inside a Pratipadikam. So that Am, the Shashti Bhavachanam, that drops because of that. So let me put these numbers here. 2365. 2365 was the one why the Am came over there. And then the Supo Dhatu Pratipadika Yo, I think is in 2.4, is 2471, I think, 2471. We're going to have to drop the Am is going to drop. The Quip already is 0, and the Am drops by 2471. So Supo Dhatu Pratipadika Yo. So then we got Preta Chivara Vas. The Preta Chivara Vas, when declined like Apsaras, when made into a nominative singular form, becomes like Preta Chivara Vaha, like Apsaraha. Now sutram for that is that when you want to make it into the nominative singular form will be Preta Chivara. Now one thing I would have thought that if Mallinatha wanted to be a little bit kind to us, he would have given a Paraya Shabda for Chivara. My guess is that this Chivara may have come earlier in Raghuvamsham. Because if that happens, he will not keep on repeating. We are in the 11th chapter. We jumped in the between right now. So whatever he has repeated before, he will not repeat again every time. So if this word has come before in Raghuvamsham, then he will not put it back again. But the Chivara is not a very common word. So maybe I thought he could have given some Paraya Shabda for us, but he has not done that. Chivara Vaha. So what is Sutram for your Preta Chivara Vaha? Anybody in the class? Preta Chivara Vas, when you add the Su to make the Prathama Ekavachanam, what does the Dirgha to make a Preta Chivara Vaha?
Santa.
What is that? No, that is only when you have a Sanyoga with Nakara. Same section. You're on the right section. Anybody? This is like Chandramas, like Vedas. So it becomes Chandramaha, Vedaha, you know. In fact, okay, before, while you're thinking about that, let me take you to Gita to take a similar form, which is comes in second adhyaya. And Siddhaprajñasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava. This is Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha, Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha, Sukheshu vigata spruhaha. So it comes in Gita. So here comes the same, it's a masculine form, but the same rule. It says that Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha. So anudvigna manas pratipadikam becomes masculine, becomes anudvigna manaha. So same thing is happening here. This one is a masculine singular form, with the pratipadikam is anudvigna manas. So it became anudvigna manaha, but the same rule is going to apply here. Peta chivaravaha. I think Kalpesh has got the answer. Yes?
Atvasantasya chadhatoh.
Very good. Atvasantasya chadhatoh. In that thing 6-4, what, 15, 16 maybe something. What's the number? 6-4,
14.
14, yeah. 6-4, 14. Atvasantasya chadhatoh. If you have a thing ending in the atu, or if you have the asantas, then followed by the pratyaya saupare, in that case the upada becomes dirgha. So by 6-4-14, that upada, the penultimate of that peta chivara vas becomes dirgha. Chivara va. Of course the ending sub drops by 6-1-68, halni abhyo, and we get peta chivara va. So 6-4-14 is the important rule. Same rule in this Bhagavad Gita number anudvigna manaha. So 6-4-14. So 6-4-14 does the elongates the penultimate. Elongates the penultimate. See, this knowledge of Subanta should be very firm, because there's a very small section. We should try to practice these rules and try to master them. The first thing is sandhis, then is Subantas, and then you go to Tingantas, and then of course the Krudantas, and then compounds and all of that. So if you look at Siddhanta Kaumudi, if we maybe like a 500-page book, Subantas will be only about 15 pages. Okay, so that we should try to master in the beginning if we can. So of course we'll practice in the class. If you have a question, also you're welcome to ask. So the 6-4-14. So now what would you have now? So that's how we describe the samasa. So again, if we saw Tingantam Padam, immediately we looked at the Upapada samasas with chi varavaha, we got the form. And the pratyaya is a 0, because you know that he has made the preta chi varavasa. The dhatu is vas. The second gana dhatu. This dhatu becomes second gana, become vaste. Dhatu vas also comes in the first gana, vasati. Vasati is to dwell. This one is vaste, is to clothe, like vastram. When you have the Anga Vastram and all that Vastram comes from this dhatu, vas, which is to wear. The other vas is to dwell, nivasati or vasati. That's first kana. So you knew pratyaya was a 0, you knew that, because the dhatu is vas, the pratipadikam is preta chivara vas, means the pratyaya should be a 0. So that the quip is the default one over there, most important one is that. Okay, then he puts it back. See, what he did was that he put in a Prathama Vibhakti first for you, and then he put it back in the context of the sentence. So first he made the Preta Chivaravaha, Prathama Ekavachanam, and then says Taya, by her. Okay, so he give you the Vigraha Vakyam because he had to do that, because in this Upapada Samasas, he has to give this Vigraha Vakyam first. Preta Chivarani Vasteti, then he cannot say, directly he cannot say Chivaravasa. So he says Preta Chivaravaha, then put it back to Tritiya in the context of the sentence. Okay. Says Vasater Achadanarthat Quip. He also gave you that. Okay. He also was very kind to us. He gave us that the dhatu vas, which is the Achadanarthat. That's the second gana. Oh, Vasu has a question. Yes, Vasu.
Hanji. Preta Chivarani Vasta iti or Vaste iti?
It was a Sandhi has happened there. Sandhi has happened there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Karthik can give us the rules. Let's see. Karthik, can you help out? Karthik, can you help out, Vasu?
Yeah, I'm here. It will be Echo Yava Yavaha and then Lopa Shakalyasa.
And then Purotra Siddham. So you
Purotra Siddham.
So no Adgunaha. So which is Vaste iti become Vasta iti. Okay. So that's the Sandhi rules. So it was Vaste iti was the Vakyam. It became Vaste iti by Sandhis. Okay, so that is the good. So Sandhi rules is the first thing. Okay, so practice those. So what he's telling is that he's making sure for us that this is not the dhatu vas means to dwell. I was just telling you that this is not the dhatu vas means to dwell. This is the dhatu vas means the achadanartha, the second gana dhatu, and that is so he's making sure you understand that this dhatu vas has two meanings. This one is the second gana dhatu vas means to wear, and that's the one which is being used over here. The pratyaya quip is also being used. He's also being very kind to tell us that also. So quip. That completes that form. The next one is swanograya. Dhatu swan means sound. Same as in English, right? English word sound comes in dhatu swan. Swan is to sound. So swanena, so by her sound. So simhanadena means like the loud roar like that of a lion. So simhanadena ugraya. So taya tadakaya. So she was very terrible on account of the sound that she was making. So swanogra would have been with the pratipadakam here. So swanenogra. So now this is not a Bahuvrihi compound, because first of all, if you look at the Vigraha Vakyam, in the Vigraha Vakyam of a Bahuvrihi, you will have the Yat Tat construct, and that tells you a Bahuvrihi. So also if you want a Bahuvrihi, because it says yaya taya. See the word yaya, this word yaya came here before when we had the Bahuvrihi before. This word yaya tells you a Bahuvrihi. Yaya taya, yena tena, yasya saha, yasmat saha, yasmin saha. So all when you see this yat pradipadikam being used in the Vigraha Vakyam, that means Bahuvrihi. That means Bahuvrihi. Here we don't have that. So he says, Swanena simhanadena ugraya, taya tadakaya. So he didn't give us that. Because why is that? Because ugra is an adjective already. While before the vriksha was a noun, we have to convert this noun to an adjective. That's what Bahuvrihi does for you. It converts a noun ending samasaha to make it anyapada pradhanaha, adjectival to the anyapadam, whatever the pradhanam is. And so we need the Bahuvrihi construct to do that. In our case, the swanogra, already the word ugra is an adjective. Ugra, ugraha, ugram. So we don't need Bahuvrihi. This is not Bahuvrihi. It's only going to be titiya tatpurusha. Swanena, he gives a paraya shabda for that. Simhanadena ugraya. The typo, literal page is typo, I think is Simhanadena ugraya. Okay, only a typo here. Okay, now, so this is this is not, and more importantly, one more time, did not have the yat shabda in that. So that which is not Bahuvrihi. Okay, so then comes the next one, which he says give me once, let me just check that. Yeah, Swanena Simhanadena ugraya. So this u should not be there. Okay, so delete the u over here. Okay, I'll do that. Okay. The next one comes he's going to now go into the upama. We already took the three adjectives for tadaka. That he's done that now. Now comes the upama down there. The upama is that, and when you have an upama, of course this is a very easy case, because first of all he took the three adjectives. These three he covered already. He also covered the taya down here. Do you see that? The taya was taken by him in this taya tadakaya. So taya is a pronoun, means tat pradipadikam. Taya means by her. By her means by whom? Because normally you should have a yat shabda to tell us to connect with the tat shabda, sambandhi. Tat sambandhi yat shabda apekshate. But atra nasti, it is not there. Then what do you take from the context? Sandarbha jnayate. So purvoktaya, which was described before. So Malinatha confirms for us. He says taya equals tadakaya. So this is the commentator's job, so to speak. If you see tat shabda is there in the shloka, yat shabda nasti, that shabda is not there, then he will tell you normally this tat stands for whom. But you should do it yourself. When you see any pronoun, when you see an adjective, never leave it. Do not leave it until you know who it's qualifying. The taya is a pronoun. It has no standing on its own. It can go in all three numbers, all three genders it can go. something has made taya feminine. Who is that? Of course, this case obvious in this case, but you have to be always alert to that fact. Is what has driven the gender of that pronoun? Who is behind it? And here it is tadaka. Of course, here he tells you also in the commentary, taya equals tadakaya. So that he has finished now. Now he goes on to the upama. He says pitrakanane ishmashane. So that he gives a vigraha vakyam. So smashane uttha equals utpanna. So the vigraha vakyam is that pitrakanane uttha is uttha equals utpanna. So that is the gust of wind or that hurricane or whatever, that which is arising in the cremation ground. The cremation ground has this word which Kalidasa has used, pitrakananam. Kananam means like a forest or a grove, the forest of ancestors, or the area of the ancestors. That means the cremation ground. So pitrakananam means shmashana. Again, expand your vocabulary. Use these texts to expand your vocabulary. So pitrakananam means shmashane. So pitrakanani equals shmashane. Uttha. Now uttha he gives us the sutram for that. Ataschopasarge iti utpurva tishchate kartarikta pratyaha. Ataschopasarge kartarikta pratyaha. So he has given this one, this 3310 So let's look at that. Ataschopasarge. This 33106. Let me just confirm that number. Ataschopasarge. Let me just double check that. Okay, this is a typo. Okay, so Kalpeji, where do you get this number from? 33106. Where do you get the number from here?
I thought I looked it up in the last this thing that you had from the last class.
Okay, did I give the wrong number then? I give the wrong number. Okay, this sutra comes in 2 places in Ashtadhyayi, and this is not the right number here. Because see what he says, Kartari Kraprat. That's why I stopped. When I saw that, I stopped. This will not be the right number. Because of the fact that, let's go there for a second, okay? Let's go there for a second. This very, very nasty thing is Pani puts the same sutram, the exact same sutram, in 2 different places, with 2 different meanings, and it completely messes you up. But he loves to do that. This is not the only one. There are others. So don't just go to the index and look it up, and because there will be
the other one is 31136.
That is the one that you want. Ataschopasarge. And how did I know that, by the way? Because he said Kartarikta Pratyaya. Kartarikta cannot come in 33106. Because let's go there for a second. What is happening here is that in the 3.3, this adhikar is running down in 3.3. This 3.3 is a single pada of the Ashtadhyayi, by the way, where Panini forms nouns from verbs. Not adjectives, but I'm talking about nouns. Like a word like Ramaha, word like Vrikshaha. All these words, when Panini forms nouns from verbs, 3.3 is the main pada there. I think I'm pretty sure that's at least whatever, more than 90% they all come here. And the 331 starts with the famous Unadayo Bahulam, which is an appendix to the Ashtadhyayi. Panini starts with 331, Unadayo Bahulam. And then he starts with the masculine noun, which Panini talks about, the pratyaya, ghai, and apavadas. And then he goes to feminine nouns. So the masculine nouns, they generally start from here. From this 3.3.18.19, this adhikara is going down. This bhave, it can either be in the abstract noun, or it can be akartri cha karake sanyaya, in any karaka except kartari. When you take a word like aharaha, ahara means ahru means to intake, to take in. Ahara means intake or food, So ahara cannot be the one who's taking in. It can be that from which you take in, that in which you take in, that from which you take in. Actually, this one is ahara means that from which you take out the nutrients is aharaha. That from which nutrients are taken out. That is ahara. So ahara could just mean intake, or it can mean in sanyayam, it can form a noun form, which can mean any other karaka except kartari. Now what we have right now is that Malinatha is telling us this is kartarikta pratyaya. That's why he's very careful, because he also knows very well that this ataschopasarge comes in two places in Ashtadhyayi, and he knows that. So he is telling us that this is kartarikta pratyaya. Now this one, which is in the feminine noun section, a little bit later on in the same 3.3. So from 3.394, Pani forms the feminine nouns. It's a very small section, from 3.394 to 3.3.112 is the feminine nouns. Only what? How many? There are only 19 rules, right? Only 19 rules to tell you, to form feminine nouns. And that comes our friend the ataschopasarge. But still the adhikara is coming down from that bhave and akartri chakarake sanyayam. It cannot be used in kartari. This cannot be used in kartari. So what we have right now is that the uttha is to rise up, okay? Abhyutthana dharmasya comes in Gita. Abhyutthana dharmasya. There is a rising up of adharma. So yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat abhyutthana dharmasya tadapan sujamyaham. So when abhyutthana dharmasya tadapan sujamyaham, very famous shloka, I think you all know, right? That's the 4th adhyaya of Gita. Yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat abhyutthana dharmasya tadapan sujamyaham. Abhyutthana. Utthanam is rising up. So that is the uttha. So if you use this sutram for uttha, it cannot give us a kartari sense. So then we need to find some other place. That's why when I saw that number in that place, I knew something was probably wrong, and that is the reason why Malinatha says the kartarikta pratyaya, because here abhyutthanam comes in Gita over here. Abhyutthanam. Uttham is to arise. Abhyutthanam dharmasya. Okay. So now this one could not be used, because this will form a feminine noun, either an abstract noun or in anything which is non-doer karaka. So now we have to. Now let me also tell you one more thing, is that in 3.4.67 Panini says kartari krut. So all krut pratyahas are by default kartari arthe. But 3.4.67, every krut pratyaha is kartari arthe. But that 3.3.18, 19, which we saw were apavadas for this, they only say in that section it will be akartari, so it cannot be used. And the 3.3.106 come in that section. But the one that we are going to see now, which is really the one that we need, is coming in 3.1. So in 3.1, this default of 3.4.67 kartari krit is going to hold over there. There's nothing to stop that. So the default is going to hold. And here is the 3.1.136 is ataschopasarge. Exact same.
Satishji.
Yes.
So first of all, that 3.3.106, that number comes from the book that you have, okay?
That's a typo in that book.
Yeah. And then this 3.1.136, this is kaha pratyaya, not kata pratyaya. I mean ka pratyaya, not kata pratyaya.
There's also a typo in the book then?
No, I think Kashik also says akarantebhyo dhatubhyo upasarga upapade ka pratyayo bhavati. So probably you're right. The typo in the
commentary, yeah.
Yes, typo in the commentary. Yes, possible.
So this whole thing is messed up. This entire thing, I think, is wrong. I mean, this should be Atashopa. We have another book over here, Kalpe. So it says here, Atashopa Sarge, 3.1.136, iti utpurva tishthate kartari ka pratyaya. So I think this one is correct. This is a typo over here. So yeah, I'm sorry. I think that book has some typos. Yeah. So it should be ka pratyaya, and it should be the ka pratyaya. The number should be that 3.1 number, not the other one. Change that. What's the number? 3.1.134 was it? I guess
136.
Okay, I lost the link to that. Anyway, 3.1.136. Okay, so that's the number. So now what does this one say now? This 3.1.136 which we want. It says that ataha. So adanta dhatoho. Dhatu ending in long a. What do we have? We have ut plus tha. And Malinatha told us that because he said us that the utpurvat tishthate hai. See this utpurvat tishthate hai. So we have the ud plus tha is what you have. So ud plus tha plus the pratyaya ka. So ut stha ka. So this is now we can start building up this word. It became ud plus tha. I'm sorry. Ud stha plus ka pratyaya. Now in the ka pratyaya also lashakvatadjite, the ka is an it. So this is because atadjite. Tadita start from 4176. Tadita start from there. Right now we are in 3.1. So the number is 31136. If you have a dhatu ending in long a and upasarga is there, then the ka pratyaya can be used to form a adjective. These are adjectives, by the way. These are adjectives. These are adjectives that will be used in the default active sense. By 3467 is the default active sense for any krut pratyaya. The default active. Default is kartari. Kartari krut. Default kartari. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, now the last time I told you we had to do some sandhi karyam here. First of all, what happens is that when that ka pratyaya is going to be ardhadhatukam, ting shit sarvadhatukam, ardhadhatukam sheshaha. You've heard this 1,000 times. You can hear it again 1,000 times, but it's very important. Why is it important? Because Panini has a section called ardhadhatuke. In 6.4, Panini has a section called ardhadhatuke. And there he puts a sutram called ato lopa iticha. 6464. I think 6464. Ato lopa iticha. And so ardhadhatuke. So if you have from here, Panini starts the 6446 starts ardhadhatuke, and 6464 it says that ataha lopaha. So adantasyangasya lopasyat. When does that happen? Ajado nitipare. So when you have pratyaya which ajadi pratyaya, which has ka or na as an it, or if it has an idagama, which we don't have. So it either has to have the ka or na as an it, or should be an idagama there. One of these two should be there. Should pratyaya which is ardhadhatukam. And the angam should be a adantam angam, ending in longa. When all this is satisfied, and by 6464 that a is going to drop. Ato lopa iticha. Ato lopa iticha. So by 6464, we now going to get ut stha. Ut stha only going to remain behind now. So if we copy this down here, so I'm sorry, I didn't copy, I guess. Okay, so what's going to happen here is that the ending a of this tha is going to go away. So we're only going to have the stha. Okay, now comes some sandhi rules. So now the sapada sapta adhyay karyam is done for us now. Now we have to go to always follow this system. It's remain in the 7.1 until all the rules are exhausted. There's no more operation to be done. Then only go to the tripadi. So sapada sapta adhyay prathamam pravartate. Tat paschat tripadi karyam kartavya. So ud stha plus a is what we have. The first thing that will happen is this: you're going to get the sutram kharicha. In kharicha, what's going to happen is that the dakara of ud becomes ut kharicha. So jhalam, when the jhal is followed by a khar, it gets a char adesha. So now we're going to way back down to 8455 now. So there are only, see, Ashtadhyayi ends in 8468. So now we are down to the last 13 rules now. So 8465 is kharicha. So kharicha, that the dakar of ud is going to become ut by kharicha. So we'll finish that off, and then comes the important rule which I think I gave for homework last time. Let me just do this. The same rule come in the Gita shloka of the 4th adhyaya, right? Abhyutthanam dharmasya. Ut plus thanam became abhyutthanam. So this one I put the number 6464. This is the one that we used over here. That was 6464. And then, I'm sorry, 6464.
Satish, we need a halanta after the thakara?
Yeah, I messed that up. I don't know. I got it now. Okay, and the same thing down here. But you know what? Now I can combine these. So utstha and then make this into a ta. So that was karicha. Okay. Now, so that was kind of simple. But now comes the important rule, which is, so this one is the 8455 karicha. But now we need to, the final form we want is uttha. That middle sa, something has to happen to that. And that sutram is a special sutram for this. See, this karicha is a very common rule, which is a very large domain. Anytime a jal is followed by a kar, that jal becomes char. So it has nothing to do with this particular form. But now this sutram, udastha sthamboho purvasya. If you have the upasarga ud, only a single upasarga ud, nothing else. And then these two dhatus, tha and stambh, only these two dhatus. And when you have this combination, then this adef parasya, this sakara of the stha or the stambh, it will take the purva savarna adesha. It will become purva savarna. So now the sakara is going to become purva savarna. So purva is what we have the takara in our case. So the sakara is going to go and become a savarna with the ta varga. So this sakara, so by this sutram now, this 6461, this sakara becomes a savarna with the ta varga. Now remember, the sakara is what? It's a karkasha varna, right? So which one? And it's also a mahaprana. So it's going to go and join the number 2 member, because we have ta, tha, da, dha, na, the savarnas, right? That's the family. Now the sa has to become part of that family now, because the purva is ta and the ta varga family is ta, tha, da, dha, na. Now clearly the na is a nasal sound, so sa will not go and join that. Now between the ta, tha, da, dha, the ta and tha are hard consonants, what are called the kar letters, and the dha are the jash letter, which are the soft consonants. So now they are going to become, so this our hush. Hush is soft consonant. So hush is soft and the kar is hard consonant. So the sakara is a hard consonant, and so then we come to the ta, tha, the first two. That's the choice left now between ta and tha. And the sa is a mahaprana. So that is going to become a thakaraha. Because of what? This whole thing comes by the sthanyantra tamaha. Sthanyantra tamaha. So it always goes to the closest match. The closest match. It will take the closest match, So because the sakara is a karkasha varnaha, it's a mahapranaha, so it will be take a thakara adesha, it will take. So now if we copy this down, use 8461 we have used, and we're going to make this into a tha. So let me delete that. So we are now going to get the tha, and then we still have the other tha behind. So 8461 we used. Now what happens is that this middle tha is going to go away by the jharo jhari savarne. Jharo jhari savarne. Remember, we are already in 8461 now. Ashtadhyayi ends in 8468. So we better find some rule in the last 5-6 rules to help us out, because we cannot look back. Cannot look back in the Tripadi, because each rule gets a single chance and then it cannot act again. So because the Purvatra Siddham, in the Tripadi, you can only go forward, you cannot look back. So the 8461, once we only have 7 rules left behind. So it makes in a way very easy for us. Jharo jhari savarne comes in 8465. So what does this sutram say? Anuvrutti of hala is coming down. If you have this combination of a hal plus jar plus savarna jar. So if you have this combination of hal plus the jar plus the savarna jar, in that case, savarna jar, if you have this combination, then that middle jar will drop optionally. Then the middle jar optionally drops. That's what this sutram says. Optionally drops by the 8465. Jaro Jari Savarne. So do we have that? Yes, we do have that because we have the ta, which is any hal means any consonant. So we have that. Then this tha, of course, is the same letter. See, every letter is Savarna with itself. Okay, every letter is Savarna with itself. That's obvious. It's Savarna with itself. So the tha is the same letter. So then the middle tha will drop as Jaro Jari Savarne, 8465. You get the form Uttha. It's an adjectival form. It's an adjectival. It's a stand-alone form. It's not Upapada Samasa. It's a stand-alone form. So Uttishtati iti Utthaha. One who arises, stands up. And then because you're making into feminine, nothing can be used in the feminine until you check the Adhikara Striyam from 413 onwards. No feminine form can be used until it passes through that routine. It has to pass through that routine. It cannot be used otherwise. So this is like check out. So when feminine form comes to be used, it has to be checked out by this routine of Striyam. And there the first check out itself at the counter, there is a sutram which says Ajadyata Shtap. Ajadyata Shtap. So anything ending in a short a will take the top pratyaya, which is long a. So you will add the pratyaya top. Of course, top means only long a because halantyam and chutu. The it letters you remove the ta and the pa and it, and then a remains behind. Then you do akasavani dirgha. This is the reason why. This is the reason why you do not have a single pratipadikam in the whole language, which is in the feminine, which ends in short a, because the moment this sutram comes, it makes it long a. It may get overruled. It might become long e, like Gauri, etc. But regardless, it will not remain short a. If it gets overruled, it become long e or become long. So this 414 is the reason why there is not a single pratipadikam in the whole language. Means if a usable form in the feminine, I should say, which is the pratipadikam you form uttha, that's fine. Pratipadikam is there. When it comes to use in the feminine, it cannot be used like that. It has to take this top pratyaya. So by 414, we get the form uttha. So that is what Malinatha was telling us. Now he will not give you all these sutras in that much detail, but he'll give us the main sutram, and that's how we have to understand. So uttha. So the 414, you add the top pratyaya. Okay, so let's go back to the commentary now. So I think we're almost done with this one. So what he tells us is that the okay, so the uttha was a separate form, adjectival form, and he says pitru kanane uttha. So he made saptami tatpurushaha. So pitru kanana itself was a shashti tatpurushaha. Pitrunam kananam, mishmashanam. So shmashane uttha means that became a saptami tatpurushaha. So with that which arises in the cremation ground. That's qualifying whom now? Why do we make it feminine? Because the word vatya. And now you understand why he told us all of this. He said, iti utpurvat, so ud is upasarga, tishtatehe, dhatu stha is being used. And to refresh your memory, is that this tishtatehe means just the dhatu stha. Dhatu nirdeshe, when the commentator or when Panini wants to talk about a dhatu, he will use that third person singular parasmapada lit form. All it means is that the dhatu is stha. Doesn't mean tishtati at all, that form tishtati. Nothing with the lat lakara, nothing like that. So tishtati means the dhatu stha. So tishtatehe means stha dhatoho, what it means. Stha dhatoho. Kartarika pratyaya, so he made sure that you understand this is 31136 and not the 33106. And then he says, taya, by that, he puts it back into this Tritiya Bhakti for the shloka. Then Vatyaya Iva. So Vatyaya Iva. So this Iva is now the Upama. Then Vata Samuhena Iva. So now this is a Tadita Pratyaya. This Pratyaya is a Tadita Pratyaya. So Vatam is wind, Vatam is wind. Now from Vata, if we mark it, if so now, see Tasya Samuhena Iva. Now this is the thing which is difficult of Taditas. In Taditas, these pratyayas come in various meanings. In various meanings pratyayas come. This Tadita is Maharanyam, as I told you. It has more than 1,000 sutras. But if you can at least get a hang of the various meanings, the various sections, these are various sections, So because luckily here he gives us this specific sutram, so you know where to go. But if he didn't tell you that, if he only said vata samuhena, then what he expects you to do is that he expects you to know that this tasya samuha is a sutram in the Ashtadhyayi, which Panini gives a section in which the secondary nouns can be formed in the sense of the collection of that. So in the samuha arthe, so tasya samuha. This starts in the Ashtadhyayi in 4.2 itself. Panini starts this tasya samuha. Well, what I'm trying to drive at is that even if we don't know all these sutras in the Tadita, which is almost impossible because there are more than 1,000 rules, you just try to at least get a hang of these main meanings which are given by Panini, in which Taditas are used. And tasya samuha is starting from this 4 to 37. So just highlight that one, tasya samuha. So the moment you see samuha in the commentary, you have to come to this section starting from this 4 to 37. For example, if you go below that, if you look at above that, just to give you a quick example, tasyapatyam. See, tasyapatyam means in the sense of in the progeny of that, like Vasudeva becomes Vasudevaha, Pritha becomes Parthaha, Kunti becomes Kaunteyaha. This is all tasyapatyam. So the commentary will say apatyarthe pratyaha. So tasyapatyam is his son or grandson or whatever it means in his lineage. So that 4192 apatyam goes to end of 4.1. So if you just remember apatyam as a section or title heading, you got it. So then you know in this section from 4192 to end of 4.1, I'm going to call all these apatyarthe. They're going to come all over here. So these are the ones that you want to try to keep in mind if you can as we go along. We are all new to us right now, but that's what. And the commentator will not give you the number. He will not give you the sutra number like that, but he will tell you the meaning. So that's what we want to try to get. So the tasya samuha, so it starts from this 4 to 37, and it goes to about this, I think, 51. So about 12 rules. It's not a very big section, tasya samuha. But now, not only know tasya samuha, pratyaya to be coming should be this ya pratyaya. As I said to you, when you add any pratyaya, you should know three things. What is the pratyaya? In what meaning it is coming? Very important. What meaning? Just because you got the form doesn't mean it's the right sutram that you have used. It should be used in that meaning, Like we just saw just now. We saw the word uttha that we just saw. Just because we got the form uttha by the other sutram doesn't mean it's the right form. So we have to know what meaning, because that's why I said kartri. He had said kartri pratyaya. So we have to make sure. Because the temptation is to not look at these things, Just blindly derive the form, and you got it. So you just move along. But you should see in what meaning you got that. So we know the pratyaya is in the samuha artha. We are in that section from that 4 to 37 to 51. And the pratyaya ya has to come. So pratyaya ya has to be. So tasya samuha only tells us the meaning. Doesn't tell you what pratyaya is being used. So in tasya samuha artha, all these things can be used. So here pratyaya an is being used. Pratyaya wing is being used. The ai is being used. The tai and something else is being used. An is being used. Tal is being used. An is being used. So and down here finally comes pashadibhyo jaha. The pasha, etc., gana. This is the hard part of Taditas. There are these list of ganas, these sets of pratipadikams, which will take this certain pratyayas. Now, who will memorize that? I mean, it's very hard to memorize the gana part. I mean, dhatu partha you can memorize. The sutra part I can memorize, but this gana partha, I mean, I don't know anybody in the whole world today memorizes. People memorize dhatu partha and sutra partha. That people are doing. But this one, gana partha, is hard. So what you can do is keep there are books available which gives all the gana partha words. You can look up in the index. And not only that, the hard thing is that many of these ganas are extendable, akriti ganas. If you look at the Pashadi gana, you may not even find this word in there, the vata. It may be there if you're lucky, but if it's not there, then you have to just, let me look at one in the Ashtadhyayi, Pasha Trina Dhuma, okay, vata is in there, okay. So this time we are lucky. Because in 4 to 49 in the Pashadigana, we have the word Vata listed there. So this one, if you looked up the Ganapatha list, you would find that one. But you may not find it all the time. So don't expect it to be like work nicely all the time. This is why I say, you master the Sandhi rules, Subanta rules, Tinganta rules, Klanta rules, because when it comes to Tadhitas and Karakas and Samas, it's going to be gray areas, large gray areas. So you have to by the time be quite skilled to make some decisions. What's to be fit over here, how to extend the sutram and all that. So the ones which are like, mathematics, you try to master them first before you come to the gray areas, and then you have to, use some discretion over there. So but anyway, the word Vata is in this kana. So Vata plus Ya. So Vatya is Vata Samuha. It's a collection of wind. It is like a hurricane or something like that. So now we still need one sutram. So Tasya Samuha. So here also when you do the Vigraha Vakyam, just like in Samasas, in Tadis also you have to do that. So Vata plus Nyas. Vata plus Tasya Samuha. So Vata plus Nyas. And then we have the Pratyaya Ya. And with the same rule before, this entire thing becomes a Pratipadikam because of Krit Tadita Samasascha. So just like Samasas, Taditantas also become Pratipadikams. Then by 2471, by Supo Dhatu Pratipadikayoho, you cannot have a sup surviving inside a Pratipadikam. So that which, removes the Nyas Pratyaya, which inside the Pratipadikam is going to go away. So you're going to get Vata plus Ya. And now we need some sutram to remove the Ya. Okay. Before we even go to that, I want to point out one more thing, is that these Tadhitas also are a part of what is called Suadi Pratyayas. Su-Adi Pratyayas. Why is that important to us? Let's visit that very quickly. See, 412 Panini starts this Su out, just some out, which we call the declension ending, the 21 endings, I think which most of you know. The 21 declension ending starts from 412. Su out, just some out, chest in this long sutram. It gives 21 endings. Niya Pradipadika. But the Suadi Pratyayas, when Pani talks about them, he talks about them all the way to the end of the 5th Adhyaya. So all the three Pratyayas, all the feminine endings, and also Tadhitas, they also are in the Suadi. Why is that important to us? It's important to us because in 1.4 Panini says is Swadishva Sarvanamasthane, Swadishva Sarvanamasthane. So when you add any Swadi Pratyaya, the Angam gets a Padasanya. But Apavada for that is the Yachibham. So the 1, 4, 17, 18 immediately kick in when you have any Tadita Pratyaya, because they're also Swadis. So then the Angam gets the Padasanya as a default, unless the Pratyaya starts with Ya or an Ach, in which case you get the Bhasanya. So immediately when you add Tadita Pratyaya, you figure out whether the Anga is Padasanya or it has Bhasanya. And it's very simple. If the Pratyaya begins with a Ya or an Ach, the Angam gets the Bhasanya. If anything else, any other consonant except Ya, Angam gets the Padasanya. If it has a Bhasanya, then come to 6.4 in the Bhasya Adhikara. In the Bhasya Adhikara, you come to 6.4 from 6.4.129 to end of 6.4. This is how you run the Panini engine, This is the way you run this engine, Take it for a test drive, so to speak. You have to understand how these pieces interact. Once you get the feel for it, it's a beautiful engine to run, It's a beautiful engine that you can play around with it. This computer routine is a nice routine to play around with. But once you get the Bhasanya, immediately this routine kicks in, the Bhasya Adhikara. From this 6.4.129, Pani starts Bhasya Adhikara. The moment Bha comes, immediately this routine comes and says, okay, now I'm going to check all these rules from 6.4.129 to end of 6.4 is the Bhasya Adhikara. Now, if you had the Padasanya, then you have to go to the 8. I think 8.1.16 starts the Padasya Padata Adhikara. So these are all the Padantalas, all the Sasajusho, Ruhu, and all these wonderful that we have seen. They're all in the Padasya Adhikara. padasya padat. So these two. So this is where that 8, 1, 16, 17. So depending on which one you have added, you either need to go here or you need to go there. So whether you're bhasanya or padasanya. Now for us, we have the pratyaya ya. So we got the bhasanya. So we have to come here. And what do we need now? We need that akara to drop. We need the akara of the vata. The takara uttarvati akarasya lopa ishyate. We want it to drop. So what we can do now is that, in fact, I happen to know the answer. Anybody in the class?
Yes, yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Satish, while we are there,
Yes.
can we use am instead of us because it's a samuha? Although it does not matter much in the derivation. Kashika says pashanam samuha.
Okay, you're right. Actually, Kalpesh is right. It is tasya samuha, even though it's a sutram says tasya samuha. It's probably vatasya samuha, vatanam samuha, kalanam samuha. Yeah, I think it's probably sretranam samuha. Yes, I think, the more likely is that you should probably use the pratyaya because it's a collection of items, right? So you're right, it has to be am only, the am. It should be in the plural. It won't make a difference, it will drop anyway. But Kalpesh is right, yes. It should be am should be used over here. Because the samuham is a collection of them, so it cannot be singular over there, so the am, you have to use the am pratyaya. Okay, so now you ask Kalpesh said, yasya teacher, 64140. What does the sutram say? Sutram yasya, the yan sandhi is being used over there, so it means ya means the e plus a. So ivarnantasya, avarnantasya, angasya, bhasanyakasya, angasya lopasyat, tadhite ikare cha pare. If you have an angam ending in the avarna or e-varna, which we do have because the vata ends in the avarna, the following should have a bhasanya, which we also have, yachibham we have. And then we get the akara lopaha if the pratyaya is a tadhita or stri pratyaya long e. The ya is tadhita pratyaya because from 4176 starts the tadhita adhikara. And we use this sutram which is 4 to 49 was used. Let me put the number here, 4 to 49 was used. So definitely the ya is a tadhita pratyaya. So 4 to 49 was used. So 64148, by 64148 now we're going to have the form vat plus ya. And now as it turns out in the language this is used in the feminine sense. This is not much to do with grammar. So again at the top pratyaya became vatya. So vatya also became like a sita vashabda. Then become vatyaya. So you again add the 414. It is just the usage in the language. This word happens to be used in the feminine. So it becomes you add the you got the top pratyaya akasami dirgha and we got vatyaya. So now what is this? Sitasya samuha. And then last thing he said is, so this was the simile. So look at the padanvaya, by the way. First he took the three adjectives for tadaka. So tadakaya. Then he says vatyaya iva. So he did a simile which has to be done right there. Because the vatya is a simile for the tadakaya. So he took tadakaya with the adjectives. Then he says vatyaya iva with the adjective that it has. Pitrukanane, uttaya. And then he's completing the other side of it. Bharatagrajaha, because it's subject-object verb. Subject-object-verb. Subject-object-verb. That is the usual order in a sentence. When you're talking about prose, in poetry it can be all moved around. So he took the subject first. Then the simile for the subject was taken next. Then came the object, which is, of course, in the passage on the Prathama, we already talked about that. So next he says, Bharatagrajaha Ramaha. Bharatagraja could be, anybody, it could be Lakshmana also, but it is Rama in this case, Ramaha. So he wants to clarify that. And then he takes the verb which we already talked about, Abjabhavi, equals Abhibhutaha, Karmani Lung, we already saw that. Last thing he says is that, Tivra Vega Ityadi Visheshanani, Vatyayam Api Yojanani. So, this says Yojjani. It's also a typo. Yojjani. So these adjectives, this Tivra Vega, etc., should be connected with the also with the Vatyaya. So this wind was also very intense, and it was shaking the trees on the way, and it was also carrying with it the rags from the corpses. So the Tadaka was wearing rags from the corpses, and this wind from the cremation ground is also carrying with it the the old clothes of the corpses. So this is how Kalidasa chooses all these similes. So he has to spend a lot of time figuring out is how can Tadaka be compared to this one, and bring adjectives which will fit for both. Then also Sonograya, she was also making a very terrible sound, and she was very fierce on account of her roar. And so the Simhanada means a roar, by the way. Simhanada means roar. So she was very terrible on account of her roar. So was this hurricane coming from the cremation ground. So that's how she was fierce. Okay, now I didn't open up my. Give me 1 second. Let me open up my. Open up this. I didn't get the English translation because I know that Kalpesh had the. Okay, I think this might do it. Yeah, okay, it's here. I got it. Okay. So who wants to volunteer for this now? Tivra Vega Nita Vrikshaya. Anybody wants to volunteer? Vasu, Karthik. Let me try Nagaraj. Is Nagaraj there?
Yes.
Okay, sir. You want to try this one for us?
Sir.
So on Rama, so what will you try for that?
Bharatagraja.
Yeah, actually what he has done, he has converted to an active sense, okay? So unfortunately on Rama really, you're correct. Bharatagraja is Rama. Then she. Try.
Taya.
Then I think there's no word for the added that. Swooped. There's only one verb in the whole sentence, right? Which one is that? Only one verb.
For what? For swooped.
Word.
Oh, swooped. Okay, swooped.
Is a verb. There's only one verb in the whole sentence, which is the.
Uttaya.
It will be abjabhavi.
It's the word. There is the verb in the whole sentence.
That's the verb.
Yes.
But he has made it active in the translation. It should be really passive. So Rama was swooped upon by her. It should really be.
Right.
Okay. Now next one is stirring the wayside trees by violent speed. What is that?
Tibra Vega Dhruta Margokshaya.
Very good. So if you look at within that, the stirring is the, what is the word for stirring in that?
Dhruta.
Dhuta. And the wayside trees?
Marga Vrikshaya.
Marga Vriksha. So Marga is the wayside trees. And the violent speed, that is the?
Sonograya.
No, Tivra Vega.
Oh, Tivra Vega.
Then wearing the cerements, I don't know the English word, I guess the rags of the dead. So what is that?
Chivara Osa.
Okay, but the word preta itself is, I forgot to mention this, para ita.
Yeah.
Ita means pragata, means gone. Ita means gone. So preta means gone beyond, so means mruta. Means
I thought it was who existed before, I thought like Ita.
No, ita means it's dhatu in gatau.
Oh, in gatau, okay.
So ita means gata. So preta means gone beyond. So now wearing, so what's the word is wearing in that? What is dhatu in the wearing? How do you get the wearing?
Wasa.
So that's the dhatu was became. So
Was, yeah, was.
And of the dead is the preta, and the cerements is the chivara. Okay. And with gruesome screech, what is that?
Sonograya.
So the ugra is the and the screech is the swana. Then like a word, like, what is the word for the like in the shloka? Iva. Then a whirlwind is?
Vatya,
yeah, is it? Then issuing from the cemetery grounds.
Pitrakarna.
Yeah. So the Pitrakanana is the cemetery, and issuing from is the Utta arising from that. So good. Thank you. So that is the translation. I think we got most of it. We're pretty much out of time. Let me just introduce the next shloka for you, and we can maybe give you a little bit of homework for the next shloka, and then we can take it from there. It says, Ujjataika bhujayashtim ayatim shroni lambi purushantra mekhalam tam vilokya vanita vadhe granam patrina saha mumocha raghavaha. One more time. Ujjataika bhujayashtim ayatim shroni lambi purushantra mekhalam tam vilokya vanita vadhe granam patrina saha mumocha raghavaha. If you look at this structure of this sentence, it's only 5 minutes, then we'll stop, give you some homework. Is the one thing I would notice immediately is this word vilokya. Vilokya. This tells you that we have a samana karta doing two actions. Samana kartikayoho purva kale. Pratyak tva can be used. The tva becomes lyap when we have a samasa. Samasanyang purve tvo lyap. We'll go through it in detail next time. So when you see the pratyak tva, or if it's samasa means upasarga, then you can see the lyap also. Yad gatva nivartante, Bhagavad Gita, right? Yad gatva nivartante tadhama paramamama. So yad gatva nivartante. So there has to be a samana karta doing two actions. It gives a good structure for the sentence, Immediately you know what to expect in the sentence. So somebody having seen is doing something else. So the moment you say vilokya means having seen, having noticed, and of having observed, dhatu lok is like to observe, So the question you want to ask is who is the samana karta and what is uttaravartini kriya? It's Raghavaha, so Ramaha. So having noticed her. And what is the second kriya that he is doing? It's mumocha. So Raghavaha vilokya. So the tadakam vilokya prunam mumocha. So having seen her, he gave up. He gave this pity of killing a woman. That he gave up. On seeing her, he gave her that up. So now you can add all these adjectives and all these things, the details you can add that, So Raghavaha, tam vilokya, Raghavaha, grunam mumocha. The simple sentence is that. Having seen her, Ramaha gave up this pity, which in the matter of killing a woman. Vanita vadhe grunam mumocha. And then patrina saha, along with his arrow, he released the pity. Means this is of course a little bit poetic. So mentally he gave up that pity, and also physically he released the arrow. So with the arrow he released that pity, also he let it go. And then the last thing is that the adjectives for the tadaka. That's the first two lines. It says ujjataika bhujayashtim. And look at the commentary for homework. You can see the commentary there. Thanks to Kalpej, you have the commentary there. Ujjata comes in Bhagavad Gita. Anekodhyata Ayudham, chapter number 11. In the Vishwarupa Darshanam, you have this Ujjata, that Vishwarupam had many raised weapons. When Arjuna saw that, he saw that it had many raised. Actually, Sanjaya saw that. So the Vishwarupam, actually Sanjaya saw it first. Then Arjuna described it. Is that Anekodhyata Ayudham, Bhagavad Gita. Anekodhyata Ayudham. So this one is coming in, when Sanjaya first talked about that, he says, Anekodhyata Ayudham. Here it is. Number 10. So 10th shloka of chapter 11. Ujjata Ayudham. Ujjata. So ud plus yam dhatu. Ud plus yam becomes yata. Sutram is 6.430. So we'll go through it next time. Vigraha Vakyam, you have it down here. So she had her one hand raised in the form like it was like a stick with a dandam she was carrying. The ayatim is for homework for you. Ayatim is the present participle form. Shatru pratyaya. Dhatu is in gato. In gato. So he says, ino dhatoho shatru pratyaya ugitascheti neep. The question for you here is that, maybe derive this for homework for you, okay, this ayatim, okay. What is the shortcut for this? The shortcut is that you take the third person plural tinganta, the lat lakara form, yanti, is the yanti. Then remove the anti, add the at. Remove anti, add the at. You get yat. So yat is the pratipadikam, which then you have to add the e to make it feminine, which in the commentary is given you. If you want to take a shortcut, take the third person, plural, prasnipata, let form, remove the anti or the ati as the case may be, and add the at. And then, so the exact same rules which apply to get that third person plural let form, the same rules you apply in this case also. Okay. The next is a Bahuvri compound. We'll see it next time. Okay. So try to just do this one. The commentary is here. Try to get at least parts of the commentary. One thing I would suggest to you is that even if you don't understand the whole thing, doesn't matter. Take whatever pieces you can get. Like the small piece. Udyata is unnamita. Simply, you can just understand that. Simple one small piece. If you don't understand, leave it. If you didn't understand, leave it. Then go to the next piece. So the good thing is that this gives in small bites, So it gives it like that. So if you say yasyaha tam bahuvri, like yat constructs. Take these small pieces, And so if you don't understand this one section, go to the next bold item. Go from bold to bold to bold to bold. And if you don't understand between these two, leave it. Take the next bold item because you cannot understand everything in the first pass, So okay, so let's stop with that, and we'll I stay back for questions. Ramo Rajamanistada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vyata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalestada Bhutame Bho Rama Mamuddhara Rama Rame Tirame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tuttalyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Onnam Iti. Any questions, anybody?